The distress beacon wasn't supposed to activate, certainly not after 7 years, not from that sector. The moment the signal hit the Deep Space Command grid, alarms shrieked across the Earth Defense Council's war room. Commander Adam Reeve stood before the tactical display, jaw tight. The file on the vessel had been closed, the crew written off. He remembered the bitter memorial services. They'd called it a noble loss. Now, the ESS Revenant was broadcasting a signal straight through Imperial-occupied space. No encryption lag. No distortion. It was alive. "Is it a trick?" someone asked. Reeve didn't answer. He couldn't, not yet. They sent interceptors. Empire ships responded too, faster than anyone expected. Half of Earth's intelligence networks had warned the Empire would never tolerate a ghost ship returning from the dead. Especially not from the fringe zones where the Empire's grasp grew thin, and other things lurked. The Revenant appeared at Jumpgate Sigma 9 exactly 23 hours later. It wasn't the same ship that had vanished. The hull was a jagged mosaic of unfamiliar alloys, blackened, shimmering with layered geometries no human engineer had ever designed. The drive signatures were wrong. Even the Empire's sensor drones failed to make sense of the emissions. And then the Empire's heavy cruiser, Sovereign Blade, made a fatal mistake. They tried to board it. Adam watched the live feed, throat dry. He'd seen footage of Imperial Marines storming rebel cruisers before. Precision work. But what happened inside the Revenant was no skirmish. The first strike team's feed turned to static. The second team's biomonitors flatlined en masse until one came back, broadcasting a single looping message in a deep, distorted voice. "This ship belongs to Earth. Enter again at your peril." The Revenant's systems responded by emitting a pulse that shut down every Imperial vessel within 50 kilometers. Clean. Silent. No known Empire tech could do that. Earth's interceptors sent hails, desperate for contact. Finally, a single transmission came through. Encrypted in an ancient Earth dialect, one used only in pre-Empire wars. "Commander Adam Reeve, clearance Alpha Black. Authorization to dock required." Adam's blood ran cold. That clearance level hadn't existed for decades. But the voice on the channel, it was unmistakably human. And the name? His own brother, Captain Marcus Reeve, reported KIA on the Revenant's final mission. Against every protocol, Adam authorized a secure dock at Lunar Station Prime. When the Revenant arrived, Earth's defense fleets shadowed it like sharks circling an unknown predator. None dared approach too close. Docking clamps engaged, but external cameras failed. Every lens shorted as the airlock cycled open. The first figure to step into the bay wasn't the brother Adam remembered. Marcus Reeve looked older, harder, his eyes cold with something deeper than rage. His uniform was shredded, replaced with segments of some alien material fused to his flesh in places. Behind him moved what remained of the Revenant's crew, 30 out of the original 200. All changed. No salute, no pleasantries. Marcus spoke in a voice rough as broken stone. "The Empire will not understand what we bring. Earth must choose, stand free, or fall alongside them." Before Adam could speak, Marcus produced a small device, triangular, humming softly. His eyes locked on Adam's. "This is why we survived, and why the Empire will burn." Adam stood frozen, staring at the object in his brother's hand. The bay was dead silent. No guards moved. No officer dared speak. The device seemed to distort the air around it, subtle but undeniable. "What is that?" Adam asked, voice low. His heart was hammering, but his years in command kept the tremor out of his tone. Marcus studied him for a long beat, as if deciding whether his own brother could be trusted. Finally he said, "It's called a core shard." One of many. taken from beyond the mapped sectors, not alien tech, not exactly. Older. He glanced at his crew. They were like him. Changed. Pale, eyes glinting faintly with metallic sheen, movements too precise, muscles corded unnaturally tight, and their silence. Adam had seen men broken by war, but this was something else. They weren't broken. They were sharpened, hardened by something Earth couldn't imagine. Marcus's gaze cut back to Adam. The Empire doesn't understand what's out there. We didn't either. Not at first. A faint click echoed as security teams finally moved into the bay, weapons ready. Adam held up a hand sharply. "Stand down!" He turned back to his brother. "You owe me the truth, Marcus. The entire truth. No riddles." Marcus's jaw tightened, but he nodded once. They moved to a sealed briefing room. No cameras, no AI systems. Just hard steel walls and a security blackout. Adam insisted. Something told him the Revenant's tech might not play nice with modern surveillance. Marcus placed the core shard on the table between them. It hovered an inch above the surface, humming softly. 7 years ago, Marcus began, we followed orders. Mapped fringe sectors near the Veil Expanse. We thought the Empire had overlooked it. He gave a humorless laugh. They hadn't. They were afraid of it. Adam frowned. The Veil's been off limits for decades. Exactly. Marcus leaned forward. Because they couldn't control what was there. They sent others before us. None came back. We didn't either. Not entirely. He took a breath, the first sign of anything like hesitation. We encountered structures, he said finally. Machines, not ships, not cities. Engines, floating in dark space, no stars nearby. The first 2 away teams didn't return. On the third, we found this. He tapped the core shard. It bonded to our ship, to us. Adam's blood ran cold. Bonded? We tried to remove it, failed, tried to destroy it. The drive systems changed. The weapons altered themselves. Shields began adapting faster than we could track. His voice dropped lower. And the crew changed. Adam looked at his brother's eyes again, seeing the faint, inhuman gleam. You're not fully human anymore. Marcus didn't deny it. We fought things out there, Adam. Things that shouldn't exist. Biomechanical constructs that made the Empire's dreadnoughts look like toys. The shard kept us alive. Rebuilt us. Now the Empire's picked up fragments of our signal. They'll come in force. They'll want the tech. They can't have it. Adam stared at the device, then his brother. Why come back at all? Marcus met his gaze with brutal honesty. Because Earth is weak, corrupt. If the Empire takes this, they'll have a weapon no species can match. They'll own the entire galaxy. And they'll wipe Earth out when they're done. The briefing ended in dead silence. Adam left the room feeling like he was walking through a dream or a nightmare. He called an emergency meeting of the Earth Defense Council, restricted to Alpha Black clearance. Half the council thought Marcus was lying. The other half wanted to seize the shard immediately and begin analysis. Adam crushed that debate fast. No one touches that device without my direct authorization. They pushed back. Commander Reeve, this could shift the entire balance of power. Or kill us all. Adam cut in. We have no idea what that thing's doing to the Revenant's systems, or its crew. You saw the intercept footage. It disabled an entire Imperial fleet element without firing a shot. Murmurs of unease followed. We need to consider the worst case, Adam said grimly. If this is some kind of Trojan, Earth could be compromised already. And if your brother's telling the truth? A grizzled admiral asked. Adam's jaw set. Then we're at war with something bigger than the Empire, and our only asset is a crew of half-human survivors running on alien tech. The Empire moved faster than expected. 3 days after the Revenant's arrival, Long-range scans detected an Imperial armada massing near the border sectors, 20 capital ships, hundreds of support vessels. A single coded message was transmitted to Earth's High Command. Surrender the vessel Revenant and all recovered technology. Failure to comply will be considered an act of galactic insurrection. Adam stared at the transmission. No pretense, no diplomacy, just raw Imperial threat. His hands curled into fists. He knew the Council's instincts. They'd cave. Earth was no match for that kind of force in open battle. Unless... He stood and walked straight to Lunar Station Prime. Marcus was waiting in the ship's shadowed hangar, as if he'd known Adam was coming. "They're here," Marcus said simply. Adam didn't argue. "Can you fight them?" Marcus's lips twitched, not a smile, something darker. "The ship can, we can, but Earth's forces would die trying to help." Adam looked him dead in the eye. "What's your plan?" Marcus stepped closer. "Let me take the Revenant out. Alone. Let them think Earth gave us up. Then we hit them where they don't expect." "And if you fail?" Marcus's gaze was steel. "We won't." Adam hesitated only a moment, then nodded. "Do it." The Council screamed treason when Adam presented the plan, half demanded his resignation. A few even threatened court-martial. He didn't care. When the Revenant launched silently from Lunar Prime, Adam watched from the command deck. The Empire's ships were already pushing toward the outer colonies, broadcasting ultimatums. The Revenant entered the black alone. Hours later, the first Imperial dreadnought, Imperium's Wrath, was found adrift, dead in space. No battle signatures, no survivors, just a burned-out husk missing half its core systems. Then another, and another. Empire Fleet Command went silent. Panic spread. Adam received one final message from Marcus. The Empire never understood fear. They will now. The wreckage of Imperium's Wrath drifted in the black, her once proud hull scarred by forces the Empire's scientists couldn't even classify. By the fourth crippled dreadnought, Imperial Fleet Command switched from capture orders to full exterminate. They underestimated Marcus once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. Or so they thought. In Earth's war room, Adam Reeve stood over a tactical display bathed in grim red tones. Markers flared, Empire Armada elements splintering, fleets repositioning, desperate to encircle a single rogue ship. "They're hunting blind," Admiral Jaron muttered beside him. Adam nodded. "And Marcus is making sure they stay that way." He didn't say the rest aloud, because if they see what the Revenants truly become, the entire Empire might turn and run. In deep space, the Revenant moved like no ship built by human hands. Its new engines didn't burn ion trails, no detectable warp wake. The hull shifted subtly with every light distortion, as though alive, adapting in real time. Marcus stood at the central command nexus, no longer a bridge in the human sense. The ship's AI was gone. What controlled the Revenant now was something else, bonded, as he'd told Adam. Crew survivors operated through neural interface rigs, their minds linked to the ship. No spoken commands, no lag. Thought was movement. Intent was action. Across the neural mesh, Marcus's thoughts resonated. Target, flagship Justice Ascendant, approach vector, null space fold. The ship responded with a vibration that rippled through Marcus's bones. It was ready. The Justice Ascendant was the pride of the sector. 3 kilometers of Imperial firepower, layered shield arrays, a complement of elite Void Marines. Its captain, Lord Admiral Bravik, sneered at the reports of phantom attacks. Primitive Earth trash, he believed. One ship couldn't threaten an armada. Until space itself tore open 30 clicks off his starboard bow. The Revenant unfolded from null space like a beast emerging from the abyss. Before Bravik's gunners could track it, their targeting arrays overloaded, every frequency saturated with false signatures, every sensor blinded. Point defense fired wildly, missing entirely, and then the Revenant struck. It didn't fire torpedoes, didn't launch fighters. Instead, a pulse, deep, resonant, lashed out. Energy fields across the Justice Ascendant's hull began to fracture, shield harmonics collapsing. Entire power relays shorted. Onboard systems cascaded into failure. Bulkheads buckled outward as strange spatial distortions rippled through the ship's structure. Bravik's final broadcast was one of fury. "We are the Empire! You will—" And then static. An hour later, Earth's listening stations picked up fragments of Imperial comms. Enemy technology unknown. Cannot pursue. Fleet command compromised. In the war room, Adam listened in grim silence. "He's tearing them apart," Garen said in disbelief. "One ship." "Not just a ship anymore," Adam replied. "Something more." The council wasn't celebrating. Far from it. Fear gripped the high brass. If Marcus could do this to the Empire, what stopped him from turning on Earth next? In a closed session, the proposal came. Destroy the Revenant, preemptively. "We can't control this asset," one counselor warned. "It's too dangerous." Adam's jaw tightened. "If we strike first, we lose our only chance to stand against the Empire," he shot back. "And we'll make an enemy of my brother." The room buzzed with tense debate. The decision was tabled. For now. Meanwhile, across the Empire's outer sectors, panic spread. Colonial governors sealed planetary spaceports. Civilian traffic vanished from the lanes. Military convoys rerouted through fringe corridors, desperate to avoid whatever dark space the Revenant now haunted. Rumors exploded on the black channels. Earthship fused with xenotech. Crew no longer human. No escape if it finds you. In the depths of the Revenant, Marcus stood before the core shard. It pulsed brighter now, syncing with the ship, with his crew, with him. He could feel its pull deeper every day, the others too. It granted them awareness beyond normal senses, a spatial intuition no Imperial fleet could match. But with it came something darker. Visions, echoes, flickers of something watching through the shard. Not the constructs they'd fought. Something older still. "We're not finished," Marcus thought across the mesh. "Not until they fear Earth itself." The ship resonated in agreement. Adam knew the pattern couldn't last. Sooner or later, the Empire would adapt. And they did. A week after the Revenant's first kills, a new Imperial weapon entered the field. The Null Spire, a massive command carrier equipped with exotic gravitic projectors designed to destabilize spatial folds. Counter-null tech. A trap. Empire Fleet Command baited the Revenant with a false convoy, then sprang the Spire's field mid-fold. The Revenant was caught, spatial compression halting its movement, briefly tethered. Imperial warships closed fast. Marcus's crew flooded the mesh with warning signals. Damage mounting. Options dwindling. But Marcus only smiled. "Time to show them what we've truly learned." He reached deeper into the bond with the shard, risking more of himself. Pain lanced through him as the ship shifted again, systems warping beyond their previous state. From the Revenant's hull, tendrils of pure gravitational shear erupted, visible distortions tearing into the attacking cruisers. Armor plates folded inward like wet paper. Energy weapons bent off target as space twisted unnaturally. The Null Spire's field flickered, then collapsed entirely. In a single, terrifying instant, the Revenant surged forward, inside the Spire's formation, tearing through it with impossible force. When the fold space settled, the Spire was gone. Only debris remained. Earth's listening posts caught every transmission. The Council panicked anew. "This must be stopped. before it consumes him." Adam's voice cut through. "Or we'll be consumed by the Empire instead." But deep down, even he wondered, how much of Marcus was left? Back aboard the Revenant, Marcus stood alone in the command nexus, breathing hard. His crew recovered slowly from the neural feedback. The shard pulsed brighter than ever, its light searing his vision, and in that pulsing, a new awareness crept in. Not human, not alien. Something older, something awake, a voice, felt rather than heard. More will come. Stronger. The true war begins. Marcus clenched his fists, forcing control. Then let them come. The Revenant answered with a low, eager hum. Back on Earth, Adam made his decision. If Marcus was heading toward something darker, something Earth couldn't control, he needed to know first. Before the Council's knives came out, he ordered a stealth courier launched, a private channel, one message only. "Marcus, it's Adam. We need to talk, before this goes too far." And he waited, knowing that if no reply came, he might be sending Earth's last warning too late. Adam stood alone in the comms center long after the council session ended. His message had been sent, encrypted, routed through black channels even Marcus should still recognize. Now came the hard part. Waiting. He hadn't told the council. If word leaked that Earth's highest-ranking defense commander had contacted what the council was now calling a rogue xeno-augmented element, they'd demand his immediate removal. Or worse. But Adam wasn't about to let politicians decide this war, not when his brother was the one fighting it. On board the Revenant, deep in a sector the Empire hadn't dared chart for centuries, Marcus stood before the core shard, its pulsing light filling the command nexus with a harsh, almost predatory rhythm. The last battle had cost them. Half the remaining crew were still recovering from neural strain. The ship's systems had evolved again, more alien with each shift, and Marcus could feel it. Every time he reached deeper into the shard's power, it took something from him. Memories blurred at the edges. Time slipped. How long since they'd first bonded? He didn't know anymore. But one thing remained clear. The Empire would never stop now. A sharp chime pulsed through the ship's mesh, an incoming signal, human-coded, deep encryption, familiar signature. Marcus's mind touched the signal, and his heart clenched at the recognition. Adam. For a long moment, Marcus hesitated. The part of him that still remembered Earth. The old wars, his brother, wanted to answer. The part bonded to the Revenant whispered caution. Attachment is weakness. The Empire will use it. But in the end, Marcus was still human enough to reply. Adam was in his private quarters when the console lit. The room's isolation field kicked in automatically. No feeds, no logs. The display flickered. No video, only a voice filtered through distortion. Adam. Marcus's voice, rougher, deeper than Adam remembered, but undeniably him. Adam leaned forward. "You're alive." A faint, humorless chuckle came through. "In a manner of speaking?" Adam's throat tightened. He pushed past it. "You're pushing them to the brink, but you know the Council. Soon they'll order me to send everything we have after you." A pause. Then Marcus's voice again, colder now. "They can try." "Marcus, listen to me." Adam's voice sharpened. "You're changing. This war you're waging. It's not just the Empire that's watching anymore." Another long silence. Then Marcus answered, quieter this time. "I know." "Then come back," Adam said. "Work with us. Before the Council forces my hand. Before you lose yourself entirely." When Marcus spoke again, there was an edge to his voice that chilled Adam to the bone. "I can't go back, Adam. Not now. Not after what we've seen. What's coming?" Adam frowned. Coming? But the channel cut, abrupt, final. For the next 2 days, the Revenant went dark. No attacks, no sightings. The Empire's battered forces regrouped in defensive formations around key colonies. On Earth, paranoia consumed the Council. Speculation ran wild. Had the Revenant withdrawn? Was it preparing something worse? Adam knew better. Marcus was thinking, choosing his next move. And Adam's time to influence it was running out. His fears were confirmed when the next wave of reports hit. Empire Black Fortress, Outpost 17, Deep Space Command Node, gone. No debris, no survivors, no signal. When the first scout probe finally reached the coordinates, it transmitted one image before its systems failed. A symbol burned into the remaining station core. Not human, not Imperial. An unknown sigil, sharp angles interwoven with arcs of impossible geometry, and at the center, one word etched in ancient Earth script. Revenant. In the war room, Earth's admirals and council envoys erupted in panic. "He's sending a message now," one officer snapped. "To us and the Empire both." "We can't allow this to continue," another shouted. "Commander Reeve, order the fleet. Take him down." Adam's jaw clenched. Every instinct screamed that Marcus was still fighting for something. But the window to reach him was closing. If he waited too long, the Council would act. And Earth's fleets weren't ready for what the Revenant had become. That night, alone in his quarters, Adam poured a glass of black market scotch and stared out the viewport. Lunar orbit was quiet, but beneath the surface, Earth itself was on the edge of a blade. He replayed Marcus's last words over and over. "What's coming?" What the hell did that mean? A sharp alert tone broke his thoughts. Private channel, secured. He keyed it open. Adam. Marcus again. But this time something was different. The voice was strained, urgent. "Listen carefully. They're moving beyond the frontier. Constructs, old ones. The Shard showed me. The Empire stirred something it doesn't understand." Adam's blood ran cold. "What kind of constructs?" Marcus's answer was grim. "Not ships, not machines, wards, prison mechanisms. We were never supposed to reach them. Now they're waking." Adam swallowed. "How long do we have?" "Weeks, maybe less. The Empire will break first, but Earth won't be spared." Silence hung thick between them. Then Marcus added, voice hardening, "Prepare your fleets. And if the Council tries to move against me, don't stop me, Adam." The line cut again. The next morning, Adam stood before the Council, stone-faced. "We have a new threat, bigger than the Revenant, bigger than the Empire." He laid out what little Marcus had revealed, edited, omitting just how much his brother had warned him directly. "If we strike Marcus now, we risk blinding ourselves to what's coming." Predictably, the Council split in fury. Half wanted to believe him. The rest, terrified of what Marcus represented, demanded total annihilation. By session's end, the Council voted. Authorization for preemptive strike approved. Hours later, Adam received the official order. "Commander Reeve, you are to coordinate full fleet action against the rogue vessel Revenant. Mission priority, neutralization." The signature beneath chilled him. Counselor Kalen, the most hawkish voice in the chamber. And there it was, his impossible choice. Follow orders, or risk treason to buy Marcus the time they all might need. Adam stared at the order for a long time. Then he keyed a private command into the fleet network. "Delay engagement protocols. Await direct confirmation from Commander Reeve." A risky move. If the Council discovered it, his career, and likely his life, would be forfeit. But he had no intention of sending Earth's fleets into battle blind, chasing a brother who might be humanity's last hope against something far worse. In the deep black, aboard the Revenant, Marcus opened his eyes. The core shard pulsed in warning now. Something approaching, far beyond any Empire fleet. He reached into the mesh, linking with his crew. Prepare. Across the command nexus, his thoughts resonated. The true war is about to begin. Marcus stood at the center of the Revenant's command nexus, eyes locked on the pulse of the core shard. Its deep thrum now matched something new, an unfamiliar rhythm that pressed against his mind. Something was coming. Not the Empire. Not human. Older. Vast and worse. He could feel it moving through space, not in linear paths. It bent around stars, around gravity wells. The Revenant's advanced sensors barely registered it, like trying to measure a shadow with a ruler. The crew had gathered, faces pale in the dark glow of the Nexus. Their eyes glimmered faintly, bonded to the ship's systems like Marcus, but not to the degree he was now. The shard had chosen him more deeply. That brought power. It also brought visions. He shared only what they needed. Prepare for contact. Defensive protocols at maximum. No one questioned. They were past questioning. On Earth, Adam's hands gripped the edge of the war room table as the fleet intelligence officer reported. Commander, we have anomalous sensor readings from the Veil Expanse. He frowned. Define anomalous. Objects moving at fractional light, inconsistent mass readings, vectoring toward inner sectors. Adam's blood ran cold. Weeks, Marcus had said. Maybe less. Time to intercept? Unknown. Objects don't follow normal approach patterns. And then came the worst news. Long-range Imperial fleets are moving to intercept the Revenant. Estimated 6 dreadnoughts, carrier support. They were forcing a confrontation, at the exact moment Earth might need Marcus the most. The Council's order was clear. Full Earth fleet mobilization to destroy the Revenant. But Adam delayed again, issuing final targeting verification protocols. Bureaucratic stalling, buying time. Every minute counted. He keyed a direct, encoded channel, one only Marcus would recognize. Marcus, Empire closing. Unknowns inbound from Veil. You must evade. I'm delaying Earth's response, but not for long. No reply. Just static. In the Revenant's nexus, Marcus had heard. The message came through the shard itself, burning against the static of whatever force approached. Adam was risking everything. Again. Marcus's jaw tightened. Not yet, he whispered. Not while we're still needed. He turned to his crew across the neural mesh. We engage. Let the Empire come. The Revenant responded with an eager, resonant pulse, its hull shifting subtly in the black. The Empire's attack fleet emerged from jump space like a spreading disease. 6 dreadnoughts, each bristling with siege-class weaponry, 3 carriers, and over 100 escort craft. They came in formation, clearly expecting the Revenant to run, as it always had. But Marcus wasn't running. The Revenant unfolded from null space directly into the heart of the Imperial formation, faster than any tactical AI could process. The first dreadnought, Hammer of Purity, never fired a shot. Space folded wrong around it, and the ship imploded in on itself, vanishing into a pinpoint of collapsing gravity. The remaining Imperial ships opened fire, filling the void with kinetic slugs, plasma arcs, and gravitic shears. The Revenant danced between them, not evading in the human sense, but shifting, its spatial signature never in one place long enough to be struck. And then the ship attacked back. No beams, no torpedoes. Instead, sound. A deep, resonant pulse across hyperspatial frequencies, one that shattered the synchrony of the Imperial fleet's AI coordination. Ships turned against their own formations, weapon systems lagged, shield harmonics failed. The second dreadnought, Vanguard's oath, lost its structural cohesion and began tearing apart mid-hull, decks exposed to hard vacuum. Adam watched the battle feed from deep space relays, live updates showing one Empire flagship destroyed, another crippled. One ship, Marcus's ship, was breaking an entire fleet. Yet even as he watched, Adam's gut twisted with dread. This wasn't the same brother he'd known. The Revenant was no longer just a weapon. It was evolving, thinking, wanting. And then came the update that chilled Adam to his core. New objects detected. Non-Imperial. Veil Expanse origin. Approaching battle zone. Far out, beyond the battle they arrived. Not ships. Not in the human sense. Massive structures kilometers across. Dark, angular, barely visible except where starlight caught their edges. Moving wrong. No drives. No emissions. Their presence distorted nearby gravitational fields. Ancient. Silent. Awakened. Marcus felt them before the sensors confirmed it. The core shard pulsed in pain, light flickering erratically. Visions flashed across Marcus's mind, images of war long past, battles fought in empty voids before Earth had even existed. He saw vast engines tearing stars apart, artificial gravity wells swallowing civilizations whole. And at the center, these things, the ward constructs, prison guards, not invaders, meant to hold something back, something worse. Now they moved toward the Empire, toward Earth, toward life itself. On Earth, panic spread through the council chambers. Unknown entities inbound. What the hell are they? No answers, only raw fear, and then one bitter truth. Commander Reeve, Counselor Kalen said, voice tight. We need the Revenant now. Adam stared at him coldly. You were ready to destroy it 5 hours ago. That was before these things appeared. Send the recall. Full immunity. If Marcus survives the Empire fleet, we need him. Too little. Too late. But Adam sent the message regardless. Marcus barely registered the incoming transmission. His focus was locked on the new threat. He opened a full crew-wide neural broadcast. Ward constructs inbound. Empire is irrelevant. New target priority. The crew responded in unison. No hesitation. No fear. The Revenant surged forward, leaving the battered Imperial survivors in its wake, heading straight for the approaching constructs. The first construct reacted, not with weapons, but with a pulse across the fabric of space itself. The Revenant shuddered. Marcus felt the core shard pulse wildly in response, fighting back against a force that bent reality around them. A test. A warning. Marcus's jaw clenched. We answer. He reached deeper into the shard than ever before, pain lancing through every nerve as he fused his will into the ship's systems. The Revenant responded with a pulse of its own. Deeper, more resonant, an echo of whatever ancient force now fueled it. Space trembled. The nearest construct halted, adjusting its vector. Marcus smiled grimly. They can bleed. At that moment, Adam's recall message finally reached the Revenant. Marcus, Earth authorizes full cooperation. We need you. The real war has begun. Marcus heard. But as the constructs loomed, as the shard whispered of deeper threats beyond even these, only one thought remained clear. Not for Earth. For survival. He keyed a single reply. I will fight. But not under Earth's command. And with that, the Revenant plunged toward the ward constructs, alone. The Revenant hurtled toward the constructs, engines folding and refolding space with each pulse of the core shard. Marcus stood fused with the command nexus, blood pounding through his skull. The connection between man and ship had deepened beyond interface. He was the ship now, and it was him. The incoming reply from Adam, full Earth cooperation authorized, echoed faintly in the back of his mind. But the words felt distant, hollow. The Council had wasted too much time. They'd waited until fear forced their hand, and now it might already be too late. Ahead, the ward constructs filled the void. No drive signatures, no weapons arrays in the human sense, but their gravitational distortions were growing stronger, warping space across whole sectors. Behind the constructs, something darker loomed in the neural shadows of the shard, something not yet visible, but close. Marcus felt its presence pressing against the edges of reality. He focused. Target first construct, tactical analysis, adaptive waveform assault. The crew responded, thoughts flowing smoothly through the mesh. Despite their deep bond with the ship, Marcus felt their tension. This was no Imperial fleet. This was something else entirely. The Revenant's hull shimmered as it shifted configurations, organic, angular plates sliding into new alignments, channeling the core's energy outward. At Earth's war room, Adam stared at the latest sensor feeds. The constructs are accelerating. Toward Earth? One officer asked. No, Adam said quietly, eyes narrowing. Toward the Revenant. The display flickered. Then a new feed came online, relayed from Black Ops sensor drones shadowing the battle zone. Marcus's ship, once a familiar Earth vessel, was now barely recognizable. Its hull alive with flickering geometries, engines producing spatial harmonics that didn't fit known physics. My God, one admiral whispered. What has it become? Adam said nothing. Because deep down, a darker question haunted him. What had Marcus become? Marcus braced as the first construct reacted. A pulse, not light, not energy, but pure space-time distortion, lashed out from the ancient structure, folding the void around the Revenant. Dex groaned. The core shard screamed through his mind. Neural pain flared, sharp as knives. But Marcus pushed back, reaching deeper into the shard than ever before. The Revenant answered, unleashing a counterpulse, harmonics tuned through the core's alien geometries. Space tore open between them, a storm of gravitational fractures spreading across the battlefield. The first construct staggered. If something that massive could stagger, its inner structures shuddering. Marcus seized the opening. All power, fire! The Revenant's bow split open, revealing an inner array of shifting, fractal weaponry. No human engineer could have built it. No human mind alone could have conceived it. A beam of compressed spatial distortion, black at its core, ringed with shimmering arcs, lanced out, striking the construct dead center. Reality buckled. The construct's outer layers began to fracture, impossible materials warping under the assault. The crew's thoughts echoed in the mesh, stunned but exhilarated. They could hurt it. But then the other constructs moved. Two more pulses struck out in unison, converging on the Revenant. Space folded violently. Marcus's vision blurred. Blood trickled from his nose. Neural feedback overloaded half the ship's secondary systems. Crew screamed in pain across the mesh. The core shard's light dimmed, then flared brighter, deeper. Marcus gritted his teeth and reached further, risking more of himself. We will not break. The Revenant shuddered, but held. Hull plates shifted again, absorbing the distortions. The beam intensified, driving deeper into the first construct, and then, a breakthrough. A massive rupture tore through the construct's core, releasing a shockwave that flared across the void. One of the ancient warders was dying. On Earth, alarms screamed across the war room. Construct 1 destabilizing! Admirals stared in disbelief as the feed updated, one of the ancient structures, destroyed by a single Earth vessel. Adam's heart pounded. Marcus. But then the worst update came. Remaining constructs accelerating toward Revenant, energy levels spiking, unknown readings. They're reacting. Adam knew what that meant. The fight was far from over. Aboard the Revenant, Marcus swayed in the Nexus. His body felt half ghost now, nerves raw from the shard's deeper connection. But there was no time to recover. 2 constructs inbound, 3rd anomaly approaching fast. And worse, the dark presence beyond them was drawing closer. The shard pulsed a warning through his mind, images flashing, ancient battles lost, entire civilizations consumed. The constructs weren't attackers. They were containment. And what they'd contained was now waking. Marcus pushed his voice across the neural mesh. Prepare for full spatial decoupling. We strike again, or we die. His crew, half-bloodied, some barely conscious, responded without hesitation. The Revenant surged forward, weaving through gravitational fractures, hull alive with flickering arcs. Another beam charged, aimed at the second construct, but before it could fire, a new pulse hit, not from the constructs, from beyond. Marcus staggered, vision dimming. The shard convulsed in its housing, waves of pure fear radiating through the ship. And then, for the first time, Marcus heard a voice that wasn't human, wasn't shard-born. A presence vast beyond comprehension, not a machine, not even an intelligence as humans understood it. Something old, predatory. And it was waking. At Earth's war room, the feeds shut down. All sensor relays, all Black Ops probes, offline in an instant. A deep static replaced all frequencies. Across the sector, communications collapsed. We've lost contact. Adam's face went cold. With who? With everyone. Revenant, Empire, constructs, entire sector blacked out. A grim silence filled the room. Something else had entered the fight. Inside the Revenant, Marcus fought to remain conscious. The crew writhed under the overwhelming psychic pressure. The constructs weren't the enemy. They were the first line of defense against something that should not exist. And now that something had noticed him. The shard pulsed wildly, half in terror, half in hunger. It wanted more power. It wanted to fight. Marcus stared into its light. Show me. Visions exploded through his mind, vast voids where even light was consumed, entities that moved between dimensions, feeding on stars, devouring thought itself. And now one of them was here, fully awake. In the blackened sector, the constructs ceased their attack, not to spare Marcus, but because they were now prey too. A new shape was forming beyond them, an obsidian mass larger than any moon, radiating gravity wells that twisted space into impossible angles. No ship, no fleet, no construct had ever truly defeated such a thing. Only containment had kept it at bay. Until now. Marcus forced himself upright, blood streaking his face. He keyed the neural mesh with all the strength left in him. Prepare emergency decoupling. We can't fight this, not yet. The Revenant's core flared, engaging deep fold drive, a last-ditch escape maneuver that bent space around the ship itself. But as the drive charged, the alien voice echoed again. Marcus's breath caught. A deep chill flooded his mind. Marked. Back on Earth, Adam stared at dead displays. His brother was gone, beyond comms, beyond reach, and something far worse was moving through the stars. Prepare full planetary defenses, he ordered grimly, and find him. We need Marcus back, or we're all dead. Far beyond the frontier, the Revenant surged into deep fold escape, fractured, bleeding energy, its crew barely alive. Marcus slumped in the Nexus, vision dimming. But one truth burned clear in his mind. The real war had just begun, and Earth had no idea what was coming. Marcus drifted in darkness, not the darkness of space, something deeper, colder, the kind that gnawed at the edges of thought. He was vaguely aware of the Revenant's systems pulsing faintly around him, holding his broken body upright in the command nexus. The deep fold escape had succeeded, barely, but at a cost. Half the ship's systems were down. The crew was in critical condition, and the core shard pulsed erratically, flickering between hunger and fear. Marcus's mind drifted back to that voice, a mark not of physical nature, a tether, a link. The thing beyond the constructs had seen him, touched him through the shard, and now it would not stop. The Revenant floated in an uncharted void beyond even the Veil expanse. No stars, no systems nearby. The ship was hidden for now, cocooned in its own spatial bubble. But the reprieve was temporary. Marcus forced himself to focus, fingers trembling as he keyed the neural mesh. The ship responded sluggishly, damaged but alive. Status. Fragments of crew thought filtered through. Pain. Alive. Holding. Marcus exhaled shakily. At least some of them still lived. Too many had died already. Triage protocols. Prioritize neural stabilization. Prepare repair cycles. The Revenant obeyed, nanite systems stirring across the hull. But the core shard flickered, pulsing in uneven rhythms. Marcus felt it bleeding energy, wounded by its clash with the constructs and the ancient thing beyond. And deeper still, he felt the mark, like a cold hook in the back of his mind, pulling. On Earth, Adam stood in front of a sea of static. "Still no contact?" he demanded. "No, sir. Sector's still blacked out. Probes can't penetrate. We've lost all telemetry on Revenant and constructs." Admirals argued around him, whether to send a retrieval fleet, whether to attempt contact again. But Adam knew none of it mattered. Something worse had entered the game. And Marcus had known. He'd warned them, and they hadn't listened in time. Adam's gut twisted. He could feel it. Marcus was alive, somewhere, but running out of time. He needed to act, not through the council, through trusted channels. He left the war room in silence, already planning his next move. Back aboard the Revenant, Marcus braced as the shard pulsed sharply, another vision slamming into his mind. Black voids, cities of dead stars, shapes moving between dimensions, feeding on energy, on thought, entire worlds hollowed out and consumed, and behind them, the presence that had marked him, vast, patient, unstoppable. It was coming. Marcus's breath rasped. If Earth wasn't warned, if the Empire didn't grasp the true threat, everything would burn. But first he had to survive. Repair priority, FTL and comms arrays. Prepare for deep encryption broadcast. The Revenant answered weakly, systems straining to comply. Marcus forced his battered body upright, pushing through the pain. He had one chance to send a warning before the thing caught his scent again. Meanwhile, Adam moved through lunar black operations, the parts of Earth Defense Command no counselor could reach. He found Commander Dren, old war comrade, one of the few he still trusted. "I need an unsanctioned long-range stealth relay," Adam said without preamble. "Now." Dren eyed him sharply. "To where?" "Out past the Veil. Revenant." Dren's jaw tightened. "You know the Council will court-martial us both for this." "Then they can hang me after," Adam said coldly. "Right now, Marcus is the only one who's fought these things and lived. We need him back." Dren nodded grimly. "I'll prep the relay." Back in the uncharted void, the Revenant's comm array sparked to life. Damaged, unstable, but functional for a brief window. Marcus keyed a tight beam burst toward Earth's last known secure channels. Adam, still alive. Constructs only the first veil. Greater threat awakened. Marked. They will follow. Warn Earth. Do not trust Council. He sent it, then cut power immediately, folding the Revenant deeper into null space to mask its signal. He knew the thing would be listening now. 2 days later, in a secure sub-level of lunar black ops, Adam watched as Dren's techs decrypted the burst transmission. When Marcus's ragged voice played through the speakers, the room fell silent. Greater threat awakened. Marked. They will follow. Do not trust council. Adam's face hardened. He was alive, and the war wasn't over. It hadn't even begun. Prep a deep scout ship, he ordered. I'm going after him. Drain blinked. Commander, that's suicide. The council will... I don't give a damn what the council does. Adam's voice was steel. I'm not leaving my brother out there, and if he's right, if this thing is coming, then we're all dead anyway unless we find a way to stop it. Dren stared at him, then nodded once. I'll get the ship ready. Far beyond, Marcus stared at the shifting darkness outside the Revenant's cracked viewports. He could feel the mark tightening, a tether of alien awareness threading through the void, slowly hunting him. The shard pulsed in response, adapting, trying to mask the ship's presence, but it wouldn't hold forever. Marcus reached out to his battered crew across the neural mesh. We have to move, faster than it can track. Weak but determined, their thoughts answered. Where? Marcus hesitated. He knew the logical choice, deeper into the uncharted void, further from Earth. But his gut told him something else, some buried instinct. Go home, not to Earth directly, but to known space. Allies, knowledge, resources. If they ran forever, they'd be picked off eventually. If they fought alone, they'd fall. But if they could warn the right people, if they could find a way to fight back, there was still a chance. We fold back toward known sectors, stealth vectors only. Prepare. The Revenant shuddered, engines charging weakly, ready for another deep fold jump, and deep in the darkness behind them. Something stirred. The ancient presence that had marked Marcus shifted fully awake now. Its awareness expanded across the void, following the thin tether that linked it to the Revenant's wounded core. Not fast, not in the human sense, but inevitable. A predator older than stars, and now hungry. On Earth, Adam read the decrypted transcript one more time. Greater threat awakened, marked, they will follow. He keyed a private message into the Deep Scout's systems. Marcus, I'm coming. Hold on. And deep down, he knew. If they didn't find a way to fight what was coming, it wouldn't matter who won between Earth and Empire. There wouldn't be anything left to rule. Marcus stood in the dim light of the Revenant's battered command nexus, eyes locked on the flickering pulse of the core shard. It was weakening. The deep fold jumps had taxed the ship to its limits. The shard was struggling to shield them from the ancient presence still trailing them through the void. Even now, Marcus could feel it out there. Massive, slow, relentless, and worse, closer. Each pulse of the mark in his mind came stronger now. At first, hours apart. Now, minutes. The thing was learning. They'd folded 3 times in 5 days, each jump carrying them further toward known space. The crew was running on fumes, half of them barely conscious. Neural strain was pushing them toward the edge. But Marcus refused to stop. He knew if they paused too long, if they let the presence close the gap even for a moment, they were done. And Earth would never get the warning they needed. Adam's deep scout ship, Nightfall, surged through black space toward the last known coordinates Marcus had transmitted. The crew was small, trusted veterans, none of them aware of the full scale of the mission. Only Adam knew. Only he'd seen the decrypted message, and only he knew what was truly at stake. They reached the fringe sectors in record time, running black drives and stealth protocols at maximum. Still no signal from Revenant, the pilot reported. The void's chewing up our scans. Adam stared out at the black beyond the viewport. He's alive, he said flatly. We keep searching. Back aboard the Revenant, Marcus made his decision. One more fold, one more jump, into a sector where Earth's deep relays might still pick up their signal. if they survived long enough to send it. He keyed the neural mesh, voice ragged. Last jump. All power to drives. Full stealth on exit. His crew responded without hesitation, loyal beyond reason now, as much a part of the ship as he was. The Revenant's engines flared, space bending violently around it, then folding, then gone. Nightfall caught the gravitational ripple seconds later. Adam's heart jumped. That was him. Vectoring now, the pilot confirmed. They turned sharply, burning toward the coordinates. Adam's gut twisted. He could feel it. Marcus was running out of time. The Revenant tore back into normal space, fractured, bleeding energy. The hull groaned. Systems screamed warnings across the mesh. Marcus ignored the pain, forcing himself upright. Send the burst, now. The comm officer barely managed to comply, launching a compressed data stream toward Earth's nearest black relay. Coordinates, threat assessment, a final warning, and as the signal went out, the mark pulsed again. Stronger than ever. Marcus's vision swam, his breath caught. It was here. The presence wasn't following anymore. It had arrived. In the black void behind the Revenant, space twisted, folding in ways no human eye could track. A massive shape began to emerge, vast beyond reason, its edges rippling across dimensions. Gravity spiked. The Revenant's hull shuddered violently. Marcus felt it invading the ship, through the shard, through the neural mesh, through him. The crew screamed across the link. Systems flickered. The ship's defensive pulses faltered. Marcus clenched his fists, forcing one last command. Emergency fold! Blind jump! Now! But it was too late. The thing had locked them. At that exact moment, Nightfall dropped into the sector, silent, hidden. Adam's eyes widened as the forward sensors lit up. What the hell is that? The shape filled the void, impossible to quantify, bigger than any known construct, and caught in its grasp, the Revenant. Marcus's ship was barely holding together, flickering inside the creature's event horizon. Adam stood. Get us closer. Now. Sir, that thing... I said now. Inside the Revenant, Marcus's vision blurred to static. The shard pulsed wildly, half consuming his thoughts. The thing's voice pressed against his mind. But beneath the terror, Marcus felt something deeper. Defiance. A human spark the shard couldn't erase. He forced his will into the neural mesh. Fight it. One last time. Nightfall closed the gap. Stealth fields maxed. Sir, we're within sensor range, but she's coming apart. Adam stared at the wrecked silhouette of the Revenant. And then he saw it. A pulse. Weak, flickering. A signal from Marcus. One word. Help. Adam made his decision. Prep emergency grab beam. We're pulling them out. That'll blow our cover. We're dead anyway if that thing notices us. Do it! Aboard the Revenant, Marcus collapsed as the shard flared, on the verge of rupture. And then, a new force grabbed the ship. The Revenant lurched, systems screaming as Nightfall's beam locked on. For a moment, the ancient presence recoiled, surprised. Marcus felt the grip loosen. Barely. Enough. Now! He shouted across the mesh. The Revenant's battered engines fired one last time, pushing with Nightfall's beam. Adam watched the struggling ship tear free, barely clearing the Presence's event horizon. We've got them! Minutes later, the Revenant's fractured hull slammed into Nightfall's docking cradle. Adam was first through the airlock, weapon drawn. Smoke, flickering lights, wounded crew barely conscious, and in the center, Marcus collapsed against the Nexus, bleeding but alive. Adam ran to him. Marcus, it's me. Marcus's eyes opened barely. Adam, it's coming. We're not ready. Adam gripped his shoulder. Then we'll get ready. Together. Back on Earth, Adam's emergency signal reached command. Threat confirmed. Revenant recovered, preparing immediate response. The Council panicked. The war was no longer theoretical. The enemy was real, and it was coming. Aboard Nightfall, Marcus stabilized. Barely. The shard was damaged but intact. He and Adam stood in the medbay, battle-scarred and grim. "We need to warn everyone," Adam said. "Empire, Earth, this is bigger than any of us." Marcus nodded weakly. "And if they won't listen?" Adam's eyes hardened. "Then we'll fight anyway." Far beyond, in the void they'd fled, the ancient presence pulsed once, then began to move again. The hunt was not over. It had tasted Earth's defenders, and it would not stop